first theme is building in a historical context, where we should maintain the context, or whether we should break through the context, or
renovating addition of the context.
Yeah. So how we will act in a historical context? That's the question.
Should we keep it?
Is it because it is patrimony and history, and that we shouldn't do something, that we always will stay designing in a classical way?
Or do you give interpretations, or do you just do the opposite?
The building holds a story inside. That's the matter. You have to decide which one has a good story, which one has a bad story, which one you want to keep it, or
yeah, who decides that?
But if you build now a very ugly building, in 50 years it's a historical. We also have to think that we are living now, and that we have new techniques and construction methods that they didn't have earlier.
you are pretending something that the building isn't. Somehow you should break with the traditions, but
the fact that it is an icon makes it acceptable for the site and acceptable in closeness to the historical context.
if you have two icons next to each other, they struggle.
Does an object or a sculpture or a painting need different spaces, or is it just like an abstract white cube, or is it maybe like something with texture, or is it something with no light, or is it maybe starting from the ideas of the artist?
You can't specifically design something for one piece of art, I think.
Designed or not designed?
Do you think every piece of art can be exhibited over there in a perfect way? I don't think so.
It depends on what you do with the space, I think.
Then you should design a structure which is maybe non-space, or maybe something interesting in a way with interesting atmospheres, and then leave it to a scenograpist or an artist to design his own art space inside.
Some arts are better putting little spaces.
It's not possible to put there a sculpture, drawing, painting there, because it's not beautiful anymore, or not beautiful enough.
I think you have to make spaces made for the art.
You're saying that the building should adapt to the kind of art that's being exhibited.
Yeah, kinda, but also if you make a pretty neutral building, then you have, then I think you can exhibit there all kind of art, because it's neutral and the art itself will tell its own story. But
the white cube idea is that if you design, for example, the white cube, then your ambition is that you think the art should speak for itself.
Yeah.
But by designing the white cube, you actually think that you can add something to the art, which is killing the ambition itself. So
it's ambiguous.
if you say, I want to design a room that is perfect for that artist, you actually say that you're gonna add a layer to the art of the artist, which is actually kind of a crime.
Sometimes we great to see a piece of art in a certain relationship with the context, which brings something else of the work to a clear
but
mind.
you have to know the concept or the idea that the artist had in his mind when he was making that piece of art.
But is the museum that makes the art, or is it the art that makes the museum?
There was an artist once that crept into a bottle and said, "This is artist crap." So it's only because it's from an artist, it's
made
art.
by an artist.
So it's art.
Is that exactly what Brodas does with his drawing of all his signatures?
And what's an ideal neutral museum for you?
I don't think it exists.
Anything that you do, you're gonna add some art to the exposition.
I think that's the responsibility of an architect.
But do you plan to add few art just not to mess too much with it, or so I'm going to try to put a little not too much art in it not to mess too much with it.
You will have to define your attitude, since you accept that we cannot be neutral. Then it's important to choose.
You can make some kind of a white box.
We think that a white box is putting all the attention on the art, because we assume that white is the color which takes away the focus of the architecture. But maybe it's definitely not white, maybe the color is red. and maybe the color is black. We don't know that
Or
because
maybe
we think that it's white, and we think that it should be a cube when you design a room or a space for a specific artwork. You're making an extension of the art.
Yeah, you
Artist
take two,
itself.
and you're making your opinion about that piece of art reflects in the room you're
Yeah,
making,
yeah.
and that's dangerous, I think.
If the artist would design the room, it should be okay because it is the
Yeah.
extension of his artwork.